Yo.
Yo, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, brilliant. Good
That's the
stuff.
way. All right, everybody. This is my friend James Davis, JLD Photography. Get at it. We actually also work together, much like my previous podcast with Phoebe Daniels. This is another one of the
Yeah, the Mugu crew.
the crew. Yeah, correct. Where the best D&Ms happen on a regular basis.
Yes, definitely.
So maybe if you just want to spend a couple of minutes, just give everyone a quick background on yourself.
Yep, sure. So my name's James. Obviously, I'm from the UK, if you hadn't noticed by the accent. I've been in Australia for 10 months now. Left the military in the UK to travel the world. So here I am with my partner, Leah, living in Australia. And then currently at the moment, looking to get into photography. Well, I'm getting into photography. Expanding sort of my horizons there, gaining a lot more experience and gaining a nice sort of portfolio.
That was a very quick biography. Do you want to expand a little bit on the military experience, just in terms of like when you started, how long you were there, why you chose to go to the army, yada yada, what your role was, etc.
Yeah, let's start. So I joined the military back in 2011, and that was for me a time, I guess, where I didn't really have a lot of direction in my life. I've been to sort of college, was sort of uni was on the horizon, but I was sort of I don't really want to take that route, and then it wasn't really an option. I never sort of considered the military and thought, you know what, this is what I want to do. But it came about, and next minute I was on a selection course.
Well,
and it was just sort of happening. Yeah,
right.
I actually failed my first selection course for the military.
Okay.
So it's a sort of 2-day course, 2 or 3 days.
And what's the like the failure criteria, like, or the pass?
Yeah, so
what's the go?
You sort of have a medical while you're there. They sort of test a few things. So you've got physical tests, which were not an issue for me at all at that point. Sort of mental tests as well.
Yeah.
So you do a sort of a test to sort of and one that sort of tests what sort of jobs you're suitable for. So a technical test. And I was looking at that point to join as a medic, so I had to do fairly well on the technical test. And then you do a few other sort of tests where you sort of work late into the night, sort of put you outside of your comfort zone a little bit, and then incorporate team tasks into that as well.
Yeah, cool.
So my first one, I failed on team tasks. So obviously teamwork being
we have
massive.
An individualist, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So
that's me.
Yeah.
As soon as I was like in my early teens, I was like, "Fuck team sport! I'm going to lift weights in the gym."
Yeah. So I just didn't really perform that well in the team. I guess I gave a lot of direction and did sort of things that I thought I should be doing, but the team just didn't work well together. And I think the people that I was with probably didn't help as well. They weren't sort of team players either, so having us all together wasn't really a great option. Looking back, there's things I should have done which could have helped that situation.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing. Do you find yourself that you're in a team environment, that you're the one that sort of stands up and sort of takes the lead and takes charge, or do you prefer to sort of just, be given instructions and do your part?
I think when at that stage of my life, I was the one that stepped back. But obviously, as time grew on, I learned how to step up and actually be like, okay, I am in charge now, and I can't take orders from someone. Especially when I got promoted in the military, and you're in charge of like 12 people. There's no sort of standing back. You're the one that makes the decision. So, that was quite tough for me. I was only sort of 17, so I hadn't really, sort of had that exposure to sort of even teamwork. Like in my job, I worked with a lot of old people in my job, and I wasn't really considering that as much of a team. I sort of saw myself as I'm separate to them. Yeah. But
I think I was only venturing out from behind my mother's leg at 17.
Yeah. So that was a big learning curve. I went back to college and thought, okay, I failed that. I don't know what I'm going to do now.
Right.
And then a few months went on. I had a sort of part-time job, And then I remember getting a call from sort of my recruitment advisor there, from the military. He sort of said, "Oh, your deferral time. So basically, you fail, and then you have a time where you can then reapply or rejoin. It has come round. Like, would I still be interested in doing it?" And I sort of thought, I don't know. I don't know if it's something I want to do, or do I want to get back into this, or do I want to fail again?
Yeah. So you had that fear of the
so I wasn't really sure. And I remember receiving a letter from one of my grandparents, and my nan specifically, sort of saying, "What are you doing? Like, you don't want to do this. You can't do this." A sort of a list of reasons why I don't fit the military. And I was sort of like,
you're like,
okay,
is that right?
Yeah. And I'd always sort of been someone who, physically, like with running and things like this, always saw challenges and tried to sort of overcome them.
Yeah, cool.
So that sort of said to me, like,
all right,
yeah, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I went
Isn't
back
that funny in life how, like, when people set us these challenges and say, you can't do that, you're like, oh, is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this is a whole nother topic. It's like when they, give a legal drinking age and like stuff like that, and people just see it as a challenge. They're like, fuck you.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can drink if I want.
Anyway. So it's literally that sort of stuff. And anyway, I went back to my selection again, absolutely smashed it. And
nice.
Got like, they sort of graded it like as an A, B, and C. And I think when I went before, I got a D, which was like a not good, and obviously I failed. But yeah, this time I smashed it with an A, and I was like, got my job choice, and then you get the sort of your actual joining date
part
from
of the A team.
Yeah, and my joining date was in like 4 weeks' time, and I'm like, wow,
right,
like my life's about to full on change.
Full on, yeah.
Yeah, and then I left for basic training in 4 weeks' time.
Were you working or anything at the time, like doing something else? What
yes, so I was working part-time at a garden centre.
In a garden centre?
Yeah,
cool.
So I haven't really seen many garden centres here. It's sort of like a plant nursery.
Yeah, oh yeah, we do have them.
Yeah, they're very, very, very big in the UK. I
thought they'd be bigger here.
Yeah,
are they indoor in the UK?
Well, here like Bunnings. I guess it's similar to that. A small like family-run one, which was quite nice. But obviously not what I wanted to be doing at the time. Yeah. So great for sort of some pocket money and stuff like that. Allowed me to sort of get the bits I needed. Yeah. But yeah, so I told them I was leaving, left there perfectly fine, and then got dropped off in March 2011 at like the training centre, and then that was me.
Centre, can you say, or is this a?
No, yeah, you can say it's. No. There's a lot of people there. So yeah, it's in Purbright in the UK. So south of the UK, in a small place called just near Aldershot. So probably about an hour and a half from London. Right. Okay. Yeah. So a training establishment there.
Okay, so we'll come back to a few things in terms of your experience in the army, but one topic that fascinates me, because I have a different view of the military to most, but one topic that I do want to make sure we cover today is that I've noticed, and especially even myself, even someone who I am not a supporter of military operations. Yeah. Even for myself, I have noticed that in my dark times, I have considered going to the army. Yep. And I think it's probably something that comes up for a lot of young blokes. That masculine energy, the desire to sort of be bigger, tougher, faster, better. Be respected. Definitely. Yeah. Being respected, I think, is a huge thing. If a guy can see that a role in the army is going to get him respect, it's a big calling card, for the military, and it's probably the way that they market themselves. Definitely. So I guess my question is, what do you see? What am I trying to say? Do you see that as a positive or a negative, or do you see that as, like, what do you think? Why do you think that is? Like, why are we drawn to this? Why do we want to go and fight these wars that have nothing to do with us and that we shouldn't really be supporting, and yada yada? Like, it's a topic that twists me up a bit. Like, there's times I see a lot of these I perceive that I'm lacking in discipline and in courage and like all these traits that I want to have, and I'm like, I could go to the army and I could have that, and the army will take care of you. They will, there's like medical benefits and training, paid training, like so many good reasons to go. But for me, in my heart, I can't physically go and support the act of a war.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's a good question, or at least the positive and negativity part. I think we can cover that. So I felt for me, I was the same. I really lacked any form of discipline when I was young. Like I was sort of a nightmare kid. I would sort of describe myself as, or teenager. I was just like not conforming to what everyone else was really doing, and I sort of lost that sort of way of, I don't know. I just kind of lost my way, and I didn't have the self-discipline to be like, you need to sort yourself out. So in that aspect, I felt that when I joined the military, because it's drilled into you, and they have something which is called sea drills, which every sort of soldier applies their life to, really, that stands for courage, discipline, respect for others, integrity, and loyalty. And then the last one's selfless commitment. So
a lot of them are good things.
Yeah,
very good
really
things.
Good sort of values to have, and that is drilled into you from sort of day one. And whether that be sort of self-discipline and things like this, where you're actually getting up in the morning and you are making your bed, you are making sure everything is clean and that you're presentable, and those sort of things. Whereas sometimes when I was a kid or young sort of teenager, that wouldn't happen. Like I'd get up. Or sometimes I wouldn't even bother getting up. So like,
it's a funny topic, that one. Like just simply showing the care, and value of your own environment, and surroundings. Like so many of us just lack that. I mean, I'm not one to make my bed. Like to me, it seems fucking pointless. Like I'm just gonna mess it up again the next night. I mean, I have this morning, but I understand it in terms of just a disciplinary act, in terms of a human growth, stepping into being a better, more disciplined, person.
Yeah, definitely. And I felt that really helped me. Over the years, I spent 7 years in the military in total, and I felt like that. There's a big shift from when I was like first joined to when I left.
I bet. Yeah. I imagine you feel much more equipped to deal with just the daily everyday stresses and bullshit of life.
Yeah, definitely dealing with a lot of issues has become a lot easier than probably it might have been if I had not been in the military. But then again, when you touched on some of the negatives then, I also kind of felt the same. So when I sort of had to go on tour, I wasn't really happy with what was going on. I knew it was part of my job, but I wasn't entirely happy with things that were happening in Afghanistan at the time. I wasn't happy with some of what you're expected to do, some of the sort of the tasks and things like that. But because it's sort of a war scenario,
can you elaborate on those tasks? Or
yeah, sure. So before you go on tour or anywhere, you always do sort of pre-deployment training. So my pre-deployment training lasted for 3 months, and for those 3 months, you specifically do what you would do in theatre. So I was doing a lot of things where scenarios where you come across, I don't know, say for instance, some of the locals that are there and how you engage with them and how you come across, things you can't do, things you can do, things you can and can't say. That's another thing which sometimes I don't agree with the military. They sort of conceal a lot of information from you because you're not meant to sort of have access to that, which doesn't help you when you're actually on the ground. That
would make sense.
Yeah, when you're on the ground, everything is just elevated. So you'll be told from higher positions, this is how you should act, this is how you can't act. But
come in, puppet. Yeah.
So when you're on the ground, everything is different. I had situations where I felt that I was doing the right thing, and people think that I'm doing the wrong thing. So that might be, for instance, might have a casualty, and by law, I'm meant to triage casualties and sort of say, okay, right, you know what, this higher priority, lower priority. And what the military was sort of saying is I shouldn't be prioritising some of the locals. Or if there's a British soldier that's injured, I should be treating them first.
Yeah.
But if someone is more injured, I should be treating them first.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not saying I shouldn't treat them, but like things like that I don't really agree with.
Yeah.
People with power sometimes go to their head. They don't sort of understand the medical side of things. And that sort of aspect. So I had a few times in my career where I'd done things and it was frowned upon. Especially, so I was in Sierra Leone for the Ebola crisis,
right?
And that was, I can't remember what year that was now, but anyway, I was in Sierra Leone, Africa, for 6 months,
right? And
we were told there not to treat locals at all. Wow. So do not treat them at all. I was specifically there to look after the military. Originally I was in a treatment centre, but then I got moved. But yeah, so I was just with them. And then we went out on a convoy one day. There was a small car crash. A few locals were badly injured in the car. I got out and gave support to those. And I was later questioned of why I'd used some of my med kit.
Wow.
And
that's so that's difficult.
And like, why am I resupplying this stuff when I haven't used it? Like, I've not been in a position to use it. And I was like, well, I have been in a position to use it.
Yeah.
And I almost got taken off that tour for treating locals.
Wow.
So.
Oh man.
And that was a situation I was put in where, okay, I can't just sit here.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a red cross, and there's people are surrounding the vehicles because we have caused the car crash.
So
or my convoy had caused it. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit in here and do nothing.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, at that point, I didn't care what people were going to say about me because 2 people's lives are in danger. So.
Yeah, mad respect for that. I have a lot of respect for that.
For things like that, I don't agree with a lot of the higher end decisions. I don't think people really take into account what happens under sort of the one-to-one on the ground.
They just forget the significance of human life, regardless of where they're from or who they are.
Because they're behind a desk and they don't have to put themselves in that position.
Exactly. Yeah. They're detached. Physically and mentally detached from it. Okay, so going back to where were we? In terms of Afghanistan, what were we talking about before I rudely interrupted you?
So I was saying...
the negatives of being on tour?
Yes, the negatives. So, negatives of the military in general, I'd say you don't own your time at all.
Right.
That is one thing that I learned very quickly in the military. Something which
there for this purpose.
And they always tell you that the military will come first before your family, before your friends, before anything. The military always will come first, and that's something that's very hard to
as a free human being. That's a difficult pill to swallow.
I think at 17 it wasn't too bad for me because at that time I was getting away from my family.
And sweet.
I felt like I was having a bit more independence. Definitely. And like, obviously the team aspect when you first join, you live with 12 guys and then 12 guys become your family for like 14 weeks. So that was sort of my shift. And then after sort of 14 weeks, my family's saying, oh, you haven't spoken to us for ages. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, you do exist. But my other family exists here as well. But yeah, one thing I realised is as I went later on in my career is something that I didn't want to carry on doing, which is giving up my time always for the military. So once I met Sarah, my partner,
and where'd you guys meet?
So we met in the UK, friend of a friend. her friend's brother joined the military. I joined with him.
Oh, okay.
And then I met Sarah through there.
Okay, yeah.
Got together. But I was stationed in Germany at the time. So distance was not ideal.
Yeah. She was in the UK?
Yeah, she was in the UK. And that's when...
Where have you been deployed? Oh.
Yeah, so that's another good question, yeah. So I started my career in the UK. Everyone starts in the UK.
Yeah.
And you do 14 weeks in that training establishment I talked about earlier. And then you move on to your sort of technical training. So whatever job you've chosen to do, it's always soldier first. Everyone learns how to become a soldier in 14 weeks. And then you move on to your technical trade.
Yeah.
So for me, that was 2 years, or a year and a half, in a place about half an hour down the road from there. So I didn't really move very far. Yeah. So I spent about a year and a half there, and that's when I learned to become a medic, basically.
Right.
But it's always progressive learning. So I'd done like the majority of my course, and then you do the rest like sort of on the job as you go.
Yeah.
And then you come back and do another part of the course later on. So from there, I passed there, and then you get 3 options. Well, 4 options actually. So you pick 3 options where you want to go from like a postings list.
Okay.
And then you put 1 negative, which is like where you really don't want to go.
Right.
So I think for my first 3, I put all in the UK.
Yeah.
At the time, and I put a negative overseas.
And they sent you overseas?
And I got a 4-year posting to Germany. So.
Nice. They were like, aha. That's how they get you, right?
Yeah.
They like choose, they look for the negative, and they go, all right, send him there because that's where he's uncomfortable. That's where he's gonna grow.
Yeah. So I got there for 4 years, and throughout that time, I went to various different locations. So although I was stationed there, you're always going on exercises which are sort of like fake training exercises.
Yeah. You're
always going on tours or anything. So from there, I probably spent about 6 months. No, not even 6 months. 3 months in that for there to begin with. Caught the last sort of 2 months of pre-deployment training, and then that unit was going to Afghanistan straight away. So I didn't think I was going to be going. I'd done the training because everyone just has to do it in the unit, and then someone had appendicitis probably 3 or 4 days before the tour or before everyone left. And they basically just said, look, we need 1 more medic. And because I wasn't fully trained at the time, I'd have thought, it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
I'm not fully qualified yet.
Yeah.
And then they were like, Davis, you're going 3 or 4 days time. So it's like,
whoa,
wow,
okay.
I need to like sort a lot out. I need to tell my family. And that's a 6-month tour. So
6 months. So 6 months in Afghanistan.
Yeah, 6 months in Afghanistan. And that was my first out of training. Been out of training for 2.5 months.
What did that bring up for you as a young kid, just in the military? You know, Afghanistan. There's a thing that surrounds that word. You know, like there's an expectation. There's a fear, maybe. Like, what did that bring up for you?
So mixed emotions, really. Real excitement.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually do my job. That was one of the big ones because a lot of the people that I joined with weren't having that exposure yet. They'd gone to a unit and they're not going to go anywhere for like a year or year and a half.
Right.
Something like that. So straight away, I'm like one of the first ones to go. And I was like, wow, this is exciting.
Yeah.
But then you flip that and you're like, what am I doing?
Fuck.
At that time, I felt inexperienced. I felt like I hadn't even had a real patient yet.
Wow. Oh, shit.
Obviously, you have like fake scenario, and it's made to be as real as possible. Even with things like
compares to the real thing. Right?
Exactly. Even with like they bring in amputees and stuff like this for our training, and we do a lot of training on amputees, and they're very, very good. The makeup is insane.
Yeah, right.
But you know it's not real. So when like I was leaving, I was thinking, you know what, I'm scared. Like, I am pretty scared about what is to come.
Yeah, like there must have been an element of the unknown. Like you would have heard a lot. You would have probably come up with a whole lot of different ideas of what to expect. But at the end of the day, this is a foreign place and it's the Middle East and you don't know. It's
exactly. And I think for me, when I landed there in Camp Bastion, which is like a big base there.
We're all pretty aware of Camp Bastion.
I was like, wow, this place is like a mini city in the desert.
Yeah.
That's sort of been created.
Photos.
Yeah,
Massive.
it's insane. It doesn't even feel like you're. It's not what I thought I'd feel like. But anyway, I was there, and I'd probably been there for about 2 weeks. And I thought I was just going to be staying in Camp Bastion. Again, I sort of got a little bit complacent. I thought, I'm just going to be here. This is going to be alright.
Yeah.
Like, no one comes near Camp Bastion.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the safest place
like
in Afghanistan.
An actual like UK city.
It's like nothing
Love
happens there. So I mean, even the Americans and stuff got McDonald's and everything. It's crazy. It's literally crazy.
Of course they do.
So yeah, I thought, you know what, I'm going to be here, and then I looked. I don't know what. So I remember waking up, and they were wanting to branch out to a new location somewhere, and again, they didn't have a medic, and I thought, I'm not going to go. I'm not fully put, because at that time, I wasn't really meant to be doing anything unless supervised by a class 1. I was only a class 2.
Okay.
So I should have been like overseen by them for most of my sort of procedures and stuff like this. But anyway, there was no class 1s available, and that morning I was out on the helicopter, and they're like, yeah, you're going with it was 4 Scots at the time, so a Scottish regiment.
Yeah.
With about.
I thought you meant 4 guys called Scott.
Oh no!
I'm joking.
Yeah. So with about 30 to
What
40
are they like to
blokes.
work with?
Yeah, hard to understand.
Hard to
Especially when you
understand.
haven't worked with like full-on Scottish people before. It's like, what are you saying? Like, I don't even know what that word means. And I'm like English as well, and it's like, we're from the UK.
Yeah. It's a Scottish English is a foreign language.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to understand.
Thick as fuck.
But yeah, so I was out with them, and I wasn't going to be coming back to Camp Bastion. I knew like that's going to be me now for like 5 months.
Oh wow!
Just out in the middle of nowhere in a small location, just with 40 guys to look after. So
you're
just
the
only medic there.
Holy shit!
So I had like a doctor on the other end of like a phone. So if there's anything that I really got stuck on, or anything that I needed advice on, whether that be either prescriptions and stuff like that, I had that sort of helpline to call, and that was a doctor back at Bastion who then would advise me the best sort of options. But yeah, very, very scary. I remember sitting on that helicopter
How old
thinking...
are you right now?
18.
18.
Almost 19.
See, young lads and ladies, are you ready for that?
Yeah, I think, I was just turning 19.
Wow.
When I got there. So
wow. I can think about what I was doing when I was 19.
Yeah. So it was crazy. I remember
Very
sitting
different.
there thinking, this is mad. Like, I'm around all these guys, and if they have any issues, I'm their point of contact.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, very, very scary. I remember for the first week, I was nervous. Very, very nervous.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. So that was quite scary. I remember this one's it's quite funny to talk about now, but at the time, obviously, I was very, very... I don't know. I don't even know how I felt. But I remember going out on my first or second patrol. So this is every morning we'd go from the FOB, or that's what we call it, a FOB. It's a small base.
Yeah.
We'd go out and we'd patrol several different routes, which would change every day. And what them routes were to do was sort of to engage with some of the locals.
Yeah.
Assess where we sort of what was going on in the area, basically. So we knew everything what was going on.
Yeah.
But regularly we'd get contacted, and what contacted is for someone who's non-military is someone firing at you.
Right.
So we'd be in our sort of like formation or patrol sort of formation, and this is something which regularly happens. Which at the beginning I was like, wow, this is like insane, but you'll just see dirt pinging up about 5-10 meters away from where you are. So bullets will be hitting the ground and just splatting up dirt, and you all sort of hit the deck and work out what's going on.
I heard something from another podcast the other day. It was something like, if you hear a whoosh,
Yeah,
what was it? If you hear a whack, they hit the ground, or it was close. And if you hear a thud, they got you.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll regularly hear like, and you're just like, wow, what is that? But,
you're like, could have just died. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're some of the weapons that they have and things like the training they have, they're so behind.
Yeah.
And they try and do things like force the wrong size rounds into different weapons and things like this. So a lot of the time, it's very inaccurate.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help at the same time either. Especially when you're trying to work out where things are coming from and stuff like this. And although my job isn't really to actively engage, because I was classed as a non-combatant in the military, which is I have a weapon, but it's to defend my casualty.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So it's not really to defend myself, because that's what I shouldn't really be in a position where I'm alone. I should have a team of infantry or something like that around me whose job is to engage the enemy.
Yeah, wow.
So for me, being in that position, I'm like, I remember hitting the deck the first time that ever happened, and I was in a patch of grass, and I held my head. And I thought, what am I doing? Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And then suddenly, quickly, I remember someone slapping my helmet and being like, what are you doing? Get up. And suddenly that realisation is, I am here and I have to just deal with it.
I have to
yeah. So very, very quickly, in sort of 10 seconds, I realised I'm really scared. And I have to overcome it now.
Yeah.
So
all that training leading up to that moment was getting you ready for, okay, shit just hit the fan.
Yeah, definitely.
I've got to.
And there's no sort of, you can't not do that. You can't just continue to just not want to be there.
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
do
change
nothing.
anything.
Yeah, you are there, and you
like
have to deal with that. Otherwise, you potentially will die.
Yeah. That's the thing about the army, isn't it? It's that you don't get another chance with the army. Like, you fuck up.
Yeah.
It's all over.
Yeah. So you have to just get on with it.
And this is the point that I was trying to make before. Like this, I mean, this all sounds cool as shit to me. Like, it's it's cool, it's exciting, it sounds fun. Like, the boy in me is like, guns and like army shit. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's weird. It doesn't make sense. But like, you think as a bloke, we just wired that way. We just like adrenaline. We like that like fighting thing. That's our genetic history.
Yeah.
But to be the protectors, the hunter, But it's fun when you're playing paintball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When they're shooting lead fucking bullets that are gonna tear you to pieces, it's a different story.
Yeah.
And it gets real. I imagine it would get real very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like, it's so important for the youths who are considering this for themselves to just take a moment and take a deep breath and remember that they're not going out there to play a game.
Yeah.
This is not a game.
100%.
You are going out there to shoot at and be shot at.
Yeah.
With the intent to take life. Or,
yes.
Look, they might not advertise it like that, but at the end of the day, if you're in the military, that's
something
what you're doing.
That you have to be prepared to do.
You have to be. That's more so the case, that you have to be prepared to do. So for me, like, I just feel as though we don't have the right to be claiming somebody else's life unless our life or the life of a loved one is threatened.
Yep.
That just doesn't sort of make sense to me. It feels wrong. It doesn't feel like that is a human right that we've been given.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have that view in the military as well. I've come across people who, in my time on tours and operations, who are questioning why they're there. They're questioning, what am I doing here? And I think they feel generally not happy with what's going on. But what I do think at the same time is that they don't feel that there's another option. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I've heard that quite a lot. Quite often I've heard that soldiers are very much there for, they say I'm here for different reasons. I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to do the right thing and to change the way the military. But I think like that clashes for me because to me, if you're there, if you are if your physical body is there in that outfit, in the military, you are, whether you like it or not, or whether you think you are or not, supporting the act of war.
And definitely.
And I think in general,
I think even if you when people say I'm there to make a difference, I'm there to do what I want to do, you can't do what you want to do.
That's it.
And you can within an aspect, but if you take that too far, you won't be in the military anymore, and you'll be taken off.
You can in the moment, but you're sure going to get your ass kicked out.
And you could end up in military prison and things like this.
That's it. Like, at the end of the day, these guys are grooming perfect little soldiers.
Yeah.
These powers that be, whoever they are, that's their job.
Yeah, most definitely.
People who will follow orders.
Yeah, but one thing that does speak volumes, I think, is I'm going to touch back on when he said, we all love adrenaline, and guys look at that and they're like, wow, this looks amazing. What the army never shows is the negative side of that, when there is post-traumatic stress.
Yeah.
There is a lot of negative. There is a lot of negative aspects to the military, which come after these sort of glamorous, or people is perceived as like glamorous. And there's a lot of negative effects that come with that, and emotions.
And I have to admit, you are one of the few soldiers that I have met who isn't fucked in the head. I'm going to be honest. I have met a lot of soldiers who are fucking mentally screwed up.
Yeah.
They've seen and done some shit that they just can't take back. You can't take that shit back. And so they bury it. They
definitely.
bury it down, and they try and ignore it and just move on with their lives and all. And as the movie The Hurt Locker sort of displayed or showed so well, once you've been there and you've gotten addicted to that rush or that, or even just what you've done, it would be very hard to adjust and going back into society. I love that scene where he's in the supermarket, he's just like looking at all the cereal, with that just blank look on his face, like, the fuck is this? What am I doing?
It is very, very difficult to adjust. I mean, I consider myself very, very lucky because I didn't find it too difficult to transition. But I know a lot of people that did find it difficult and still find it difficult today.
What do you think it was that made it easier for you to transition?
I think for me, the fact that I find it quite easy to detach from things.
Okay.
So, for instance, a lot of people who do go to war, and this is speaking about friends that I know who have been to Iraq, so this is pre-Afghanistan, Iraq, where this was a very much... the British military went there very, very quickly without proper training, without the right equipment, and it got very, very messy.
Right.
So friends that I've had from back there found it very, very difficult, and I think they found it very, very hard to detach because they got so focused on, I'm here for 6 months, and then I go back for 6 months and I go again. I think because they've done 3, 4, 5 tours, it's a lot of time to spend in a war zone. For me, I only went once, so 6 months, I was young, and I came back and I thought, for the first few weeks, it does feel weird. Feel very, very weird. But I had good support around me. I think that really helps. You come back to your family. You don't come back to I found it incredibly difficult if I came back and I had nothing, or if I had very limited friend circle, or things like that.
A detached family that you're not close to, or whatever.
Exactly. But
do you think that? Sorry to interrupt. Do you think that the medical training helped that sense of that ability to detach? Because I guess if you are a medic in the army, you would have to be able to be in situations but also be detached from them, because you'd see some gruesome shit and you would
100%.
be around some real nasty shit. So maybe there's a bit of training there that would have helped you to just be able to detach yourself from what's happening.
100%. I mean, I've been in situations where I have had people dying, so that does mess with your head, and it used to mess with my head for a few hours after the incident, but then I found it very, very easy, which sounds weird, to detach from that and be like, okay, that's in the past. I've done my best. I think one thing that they always teach you is do your best, but don't expect to always have the best outcome.
Yeah.
I think if you expect that you're going to save everyone and do everything, then your mindset is going to be sort of impacted, and you're going to be worrying about these incidents later on and later, thinking, did I do this? Did I do that? Could I have done this? Could I have done that? No, you just did what you could do in that situation, and that was the best that you could have done.
Yeah. That's a really good point just for life.
Yeah,
in general.
100%.
Do your best, but don't expect the best outcome every time. Yeah. Just always do your best. I heard something the other day that I really loved, which was, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Which I love that as well.
Yeah, so really nice.
That mentality of, regardless of the outcome, I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we can all improve on.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I feel like as well, my medical training is very, very different to a lot of what the other military training is like. Yeah. So, for instance, if I was to join as an infanteer, a fighting soldier essentially, my mindset might have been different. I don't know. I didn't go through that aspect of that second period of training. I obviously did soldier and then trade. They would have just done soldier and then further soldiering. My mindset may have been different. I'm not sure what would have come onto me during those extra 3-4 months of specific fighting training.
Yeah, that might have sort of played with your brain a little bit more. You go.
Oh, sorry. I think as well is one thing that I've noticed myself as a person, and this is just me in general, is I find it very, very hard to get aggressive, like really aggressive.
Yeah, me too.
And this is one thing I struggled with in my initial training, which I probably highlighted to me that I'm never going to be a fighting soldier. And that's bayonet training. So bayonet training is a big, aggressive part of. It's done over a full week, or even 2 weeks sometimes, depending on how mean the instructors want to be.
Right.
1, 2, 3 days of build up, so you're treated terribly for 3 to 4 days, or even a week in some cases. So all privileges are taken away. Everything is sort of made to feel like this is the worst it's going to be.
Yeah. Okay.
You're really low, you don't feel good, you have no sleep, it's just not good. And this is all built up for 1 hour of bayonet training.
Wow.
So,
excuse my ignorance, is that the spear?
Yeah, so it's like a sword on the end of your weapon. That's right, yeah.
I thought
or a big knife.
Outdated and old. They still around.
Yeah, we still carry them, for like close quarter combat and stuff like this.
That makes sense, actually.
But yeah, so...
I can't even imagine, like, plunging that into someone.
Yeah, exactly. And when you come to the sandbags and stuff like this, you have various heights of sandbag in front of you, and you have to show full aggression, and you have to detach yourself from like normal life and just see that person in front of them. That's what they're trying to create.
Yeah.
So they're trying to create that you can detach yourself from everything and plunge a knife into someone.
You have to
twist it and then pull that knife out. Yeah.
Oh.
And like, for me, that was incredibly hard for me to get that aggressive. I didn't even get aggressive from the build-up. A lot of people were very aggressive because they were at their wits' end. They're like, I've had enough of this.
I think also there are a lot of dudes out there that are just aggressive. They have
very,
a lot
very aggressive.
of emotional, trauma in their life or whatever it may be, lack of good role models, whatever, and they get this opportunity where they have a green card to let that aggression out, and really 100%. Get angry, and it's scary.
Yeah, and I feel like I'd met some of these people who were very aggressive at the end of that week, and their answer to their sort of stress relief was plunging that knife into the sandbag, twisting it and pulling it out. That didn't relieve anything for me. No. It didn't do anything. It was just a task that I was doing.
Probably just plunged a knot into your stomach and twisted it.
Yeah, I just had to force aggression on myself to do that. I didn't actually feel aggressive.
Yeah.
And it didn't relieve anything. me doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good from it. Some people felt great from doing that, which I found weird.
Strange, isn't it?
But yeah, so I guess how people deal with that is different.
What are your over your life? What has been your methods of dealing with stress or internal tumultuous internals?
Yeah,
like letting that anger out. Like, how do you deal with it in life?
Yeah, so for me, I feel like when I am angry or when I'm stressed, I really like to take
turmoil. Turmoil is the word I was looking
for. I really like to really take myself away from the situation. So self-reflection is something I always do. Especially like when I was on tour and things like this, I was very, very stressed. Very stressed. And I felt that I'd just be more stressed if I listened to all these people talking around me and so many different opinions telling me I should be thinking that, I should be thinking this, blah, blah, blah. So I used to really take myself away. I used to write down a journal of everything that I've done. That's something I just did anyway for my sort of medical practice. Yeah. But I'd read through some of the points, and I'd create points that were things that I felt that I did were good and bad.
I've got a similar process, actually.
Yeah, and I felt that really helped me. It helps me calm down a lot in stressful situations if I can try and remove myself. But when the stress is on me straight away, I sort of just perform. I don't know.
Not a bad thing, man. Yeah, teach me.
I do perform very well in stressful situations, and that's something that I obviously didn't do when I first got to things like when I went on tour. I did perform well. I had my hands on my head, but I learned to perform well.
Yeah, it's a skill. It is a skill. People look at things like discipline and persistence and ability to perform under pressure and yada yada, and they think that I don't have that. I'm just not cut out that way. They're skills.
Yeah.
These are things that can be developed and honed.
Yeah, definitely.
Over time, and they just take starting small.
Yeah,
and building 100%. Up, doing little things every day, like taking a cold shower every day.
Yeah,
instead of a hot one,
like
that will put you out of your comfort zone. And if you can just commit to doing that every day, that is building discipline.
Yeah, and I feel that if you, even like you said, just if we were to apply this non-military into our normal lives, doing things, even small things that are outside your normal routine, or sometimes when you think about things, you think, oh, I'm not going to do that because that feels a little bit uncomfortable, or that's not me, or whatever. But once you do these things, you'll realise, oh, I can cope in that situation.
Yeah.
I can actually do that, and it's not big as issue as I thought it would be. Yeah. Like one thing, and this relates, I was speaking to my sister the other day, she was extremely scared of flying.
Right.
So she had a free trip to Vegas. Her boyfriend was going to a wedding, and everything was paid for. So from the UK to Vegas, you wouldn't turn that down.
Surely.
But for about 2 months prior to this flight, she's getting extremely worked up, like can't sleep. Yeah. And I sort of said to her, I was like, you need to do this because it's going to put you outside your comfort zone, and you're going to realise that it's fine.
Yeah.
And that like 2 month build up isn't necessary.
No.
If you think about it, you could spend 2 months worrying about something for one thing, or you could spend 2 months enjoying the process, and then be nervous for that 10 seconds you get on the plane.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Actually, Will Smith does a really cool video, pretty much on the same kind of thing.
Oh, really?
It was skydiving from a helicopter. I think. And it's a dope video. You guys should check it out. So I will hopefully remember to put that link in the description.
Yeah, definitely.
If not, just Google it. It's really cool.
So that's one mindset I really have, is I can get, with my stress and stuff like that, I can get stressed about something for weeks on end, or I can just enjoy the process and be stressed for that 10 seconds when it actually happens.
Oh, I need you in my life more often. Whenever I get, I'm just going to call James and be like, James, I need your military discipline, stress relief techniques. Medic me.
But yeah, that's how I basically de-stress and overcome things that I look back on and think, yeah, that was pretty hectic.
Yeah.
And talking about things. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Bottling things up is never a good idea.
Never the answer.
Never a good idea.
And you know what? That is exactly the point for this. You know, like this podcast came about for me because I was in a terrible place last year. You know, I felt really bad. End of 2018 was a time where I spent a lot of time reflecting on the past, on my past year, and discovering how sort of disappointed I was in myself.
Yep, sure.
I won't dive into all that now, but from that, you know, came this, and it was like, all right, I need to do something. I need to give myself a project.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a passion project. It needs to be something that isn't related to money whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's just for the sake of enjoyment.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? I love conversation.
Yeah.
I love to have good, quality, deep, and meaningful conversations. Just noticed the audio's out of sync. That's great. We'll fix that later. So, yeah, you know, diving out of your comfort zone and just trying new things and expressing yourself.
You can only improve.
Yeah, you can only improve. You can only improve, exactly. So, got to wrap up soon, but we will. Let's dive back quickly into this. Just pros and cons, real quick. Army. You know, if you are considering it, if this is something that you can see yourself doing.
Yep.
You know, let's maybe just like some bullet points. Okay, what can you get out of this? What are the things you need to keep in mind before you?
Sure. That's really good, actually. Really good.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish I'd had something like this before I joined. And you can look at it and say, okay, these are real experiences.
Yeah.
So I reckon. So let's start with some of the pros.
Yeah.
So, big pros of the army: travel. 100%.
Yeah. Travel. Yeah, you heard all your wanderlusters.
I have been like Canada, Africa various times, different parts, so Kenya, Sierra Leone, Afghanistan, not the greatest location,
still
but it is another location experience.
Totally.
Where else have I been? Loads of places in Europe, Germany, all over the UK. Just travel is insane. And one thing that they always do is adventure training. So things like I've been skiing for 4 weeks, paid by the army to go skiing.
Come on.
Skiing and snowboarding for 4 weeks.
Mate.
You can't do that, like rock climbing, caving, all sorts of stuff. Stuff that I would have never have done because they were probably outside of my comfort zone.
And also expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can't afford to go skiing for 4 weeks.
Yeah, totally.
And have all my food paid for.
And
have everything paid for. And get paid.
Come on.
That's one of the biggest things. Developing yourself is another one.
Yeah.
But also being mindful of that. So, developing yourself in the right way as opposed to falling down the wrong path.
Learning the skills of discipline and of...
those sort of sea drills that I spoke about. Courage.
Like discovering
sort of stuff.
Who you become under intense pressure.
Yeah.
You know, learning to perform under intense pressure. Like, there would... Yeah, I mean, I have never looked at the army as a blanket bad. I've always seen so many great positives, and I know that I could get so much out of an experience in the military. I know that. It's just more that I just I just can't do it. I just can't.
And I think that is good that you've realised that, because I think that you could just join the army. There's nothing stopping you. But I think you having that mindset saying, you know what, that isn't the right decision for me, but I would like some of those experiences. And there are other ways in life which you could possibly get those experiences.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which more conform with your beliefs and so I think...
Any more positives?
Yeah, another positive, I was going to go, so we had travel, we got developing yourself. We have, another great one is you're paid to learn. True. That's one thing which I like. If I'd gone to the uni and done the same degree that I'd done in the army, I'd probably be in like 40 grand of debt still. Yeah.
Say goodbye to Hexton, ladies and gentlemen. Sign up for the army, and you get paid to learn.
Yeah. So I got a degree from the army, paramedics degree. Yes, although I'm not using that now. At the time, I'm glad I'd done that.
Yeah. Oh man, it's an incredible experience, and it must be empowering to know that you have the knowledge and the experience within yourself that in any emergency situation in life, you will have an idea of what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing that taught me as well is because I was in college, I always used to think, okay, I'm not sure about if I want to go to uni. Am I clever enough to go to uni? I'd done alright at college, but I thought, can I do that? And then I just got a job and done a degree at the same time. So I'm like, okay, I can do a job and a degree. So yes, I am.
Yeah.
and that's sort of good for later in life. If you ever want to learn anything, you're still gonna have to work probably. So
something else that could, like, this is just a thought I just had, that could come from that degree of yours is like, you might then be able to go and volunteer in third world countries when there is, an environmental disaster or something, and that's a skill that can be really helpful in those times, and that's giving back to the community. So that's really cool as well. Yeah,
that's another really good point as well. Other than that, I'd say my top three. That would be my top three. If I was to pick smaller points, you get paid to do something which a lot of the time is things that you just wouldn't consider working.
So, that's true. It's not really like working you do get paid a job, for that. Is it? It's,
and friends for life.
Yeah,
that's another one. Some of the people that I've met in the military, because you share those times and dark times and great times. You like become such good friends. It's unreal.
Yeah, the bonds you would create would be quite spectacular, I would imagine.
Yeah. And one other thing I would say is pride. I had a lot of pride when I was in the military. I felt like I'd achieved something, therefore I should be proud of myself.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I'm better than anyone else. That's something which the army sometimes put on you.
Yeah.
I never felt like that, and I never really used to look at people, or my friends that weren't in the military, as like, oh, I'm a level up. I used to always consider myself equal, and I just chose to do something else.
It's like a sense of pride in in accomplishment in self. In being a part of something bigger than yourself. Yeah. That's probably what it comes down to, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think the most pride I felt was I finished my 14 weeks basic training, and at the end, all your family come and watch you pass out. And I stood there on the parade square, sweating like mad. So I've been there for about 2 hours, standing in the same position. But I felt incredibly proud of myself. And that's something which I probably haven't felt for a long time. But
it's a major achievement. What you've been through. 100%.
Exactly. So that was pretty cool. But let's touch on some of the negatives just quickly.
Let's dive into them real quick because we're fast running out of time.
So I think things to be mindful. I wouldn't say negative, but things to be mindful of when you join the military is you are essentially giving up your life for the military. You can't decide what you want to do on a weekend every weekend.
Yeah, you are allowing people to pull your strings. You're pretty much becoming a puppet to some degree. Yeah,
they decide whether you're working that evening or not. Yeah, and things like that. So yes, giving up your time for the military is a big one. Some of the other negatives could be you might not end up where you want to be. And one other thing which I've found, no one ever really speaks about this, I found, even in the military, is people become really dependent on the military. So you go into the army as a young kid, say you do 12 years or something, you're 30-something years old, but you don't have anything. You don't have, or you haven't really progressed, you don't have those sort of things in life. The army still is supporting you, supporting you with everything, with meals and everything like this.
Where are you once you leave, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And then that's when a lot of people struggle when they become too dependent on the military.
Is it a good wage in the military or not really?
It's a pretty good wage. I think it's better in Australia.
UK military. It's better here, is it?
Yeah. Okay. Salary's probably 2 to 3 times more than what I was in the UK.
Oh, wow.
So very good in Australia. British military hasn't obviously caught on that trend, but it's still more than enough to. When you think you don't have to pay rent, you don't have to pay.
Your living expenses would be
a disposable income is huge.
Right. Yeah.
But it's what you do with that disposable income. So
invest, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. When I first joined the military, I was very good at saving.
Yeah.
That was very good. worked really well for me. I could save a lot in the military. That's one thing that another positive there. You can save a lot, but you could also spend a lot.
Yeah.
Drinking culture is huge in the military.
Is it?
People are very, very wary of that. Yeah.
I was wondering about that because I kind of thought there'd be, pretty strict guidelines in terms of alcohol, but
with like work stuff, yes. The minute there's any downtime, there's always someone drinking.
Yeah.
There's always someone drinking. There's always people going out.
Got to drown the pain and sorrow.
Yeah, and like things like that can become a problem, and people can spend a lot of money in like a weekend. I mean, I've been with friends who spent their whole wage in one day, and like if you're to do that as out of the army, people have got bills to pay. You've got like people that don't necessarily tend to do that, don't get paid and blow everything in like 1 hour. And then live off like ration packs the next month. Like when I used to see people doing that, that is a negative, and I used to think that they haven't really learned how to live properly.
It's also just some people have higher financial intelligence than others. Some people know how to manage money and some don't, and that's probably not really necessarily the army's fault or
it's not.
It's just personal, but I guess just to touch on another couple of negatives, there is obviously that one that I brought up, which is of you are fighting old grumpy men's wars for them,
definitely,
and women, which
and
doesn't sit right for a lot of people.
And you also are fighting a war in which someone potentially has never been in a war. So someone is making those decisions who's never ever been in your position, or been on the ground, or been any part of that war. They're just making a decision because that's what they feel is best for the country or whatever.
Yeah.
But not best for you as a person.
Yeah, correct. And I guess the elephant in the room, which is that the black and white fact that you might die.
Yep. 100%.
And at some stage you may be confronted with the position where you need to take somebody else's life away from them.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think they are probably the two biggest ones. If you ask anyone.
Massive.
But that's not to say that. I mean, I guess the conclusion that we can arrive to here is that you need to decide for yourself whether this is something that's going to suit you.
Yeah,
or
it's
not.
something which is going to take a lot of thought. I think, on
don't rush into it, is what we're saying. Have a think. Really
definitely
make sure
explore
you're okay.
all avenues.
Explore all your avenues.
See if it is for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're at the hour now, but I feel like this could go on for a long time.
Maybe volume 2 or something.
Yeah. I was going to say we'll definitely do another one because there's so much to talk about.
There's a lot of other topics.
We only touched on like the kind of the pros and cons of the army. We didn't even dive into anything else, and I've got so many more questions for you and shit, but we're just out of time. So what we'll do is we'll definitely come back and do an episode 2. And we'll dive into some more cool shit, and we'll dive more into life after the army and what you're doing now and your photography and your creative side and all that shit, because I definitely want to talk about that as well. Yeah, that'd be rad.
Maybe if anyone's listening, if they have any questions about the military or anything that they have unanswered questions, maybe they can send you something, and then
or just chat to you. Like you can find James on Instagram at James Lawrence Davis.
James Lawrence Davis. Yep.
Do you want to spell that for them quickly?
Yeah, so it's James and then LAWRENCE DAVIS.
There you go.
James Lawrence Davis. Yeah. Send me any questions you have
on Instagram. You can hit him up for army-related questions. Or anything else if you want.
Yeah. Any photography questions as well.
That's it. Now the other thing I wanted to say, that's right, I am going to get into the habit of asking every guest a final question before we wrap up the podcast. And my question is, what is the single best piece of life advice you've ever been given?
Wow.
Pressure.
Right, okay. So, single best life advice.
Just general life advice that sort of served you well.
Right, brilliant. So I reckon this is something which I have always tried to apply to my life, and I guess, and this is when I'm always doubting things, and it's literally just do it.
Just do it. Sorry, Nike, not trying to step on your toes.
Yeah, I've always. Everyone finds things challenging.
Yeah.
And everyone has doubts about whether they're going to do well or not do well, but you're never going to know unless you just do it.
Yeah.
So,
that's something. Love that.
Yeah.
That's gold. Gold, do you hear me? Yeah, so. Good stuff. All right, just do it. Well, in the words of James Lawrence Davis, just do it, folks. We're done. Yeah. We did it. Cool. That's episode 1. Well, episode 1 of JLD and JS.
Yeah.
We'll make another one. We'll dive down another rabbit warren.
Yeah. Loads more to explore.
Until then, I think it's coffee time. What do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely.
100%. Thanks for tuning in, fam.
Thanks, guys.
Catch you later.